Today I want to talk about the Chrome web apps or Chrome Web Store. One of the problems I always had as a teacher was going to a lab and wanting to use a specific software and getting there and it wouldn't be set up or wouldn't work properly because it was set up on a traditional desktop. And this would often result in wasted time and often a lost lesson. So one of the tools I came across is Chrome Web Store. And there are literally hundreds of productivity apps that are extremely useful for the classroom, and you can find them in the Chrome Web Store. One thing we're going to notice, and we're going to go and have a look in a second, is that there's an overwhelming amount of these. One major advantage of a Google Apps for Education account is you have the option, or the Google admin has the option to limit which one of those apps are available to different levels. Now this can be set up by your school or school board, and what the demo I'm going to show you today will show you everything that's out there. So sometimes you want to have these things not available to students. The first thing you need to have is Google Chrome has to be installed. Once it's installed, you're ready to go. What you need to know is that this basically allows you to act as a sort of a mobile computing platform. It allows you to add these programs once to your profile, and then once you log in, they're going to all be there. I'm going to show you how to do this. So currently, I'm going to go and find them. And it used to be that you'd open a tab and they would show up. And now what you see show up when you click on a tab are basically your most visited sites. So this is also useful. So if you need to see your most visited sites, click here. So where are the Chrome web apps? Click over here, and there they show up. So these are the ones I have installed on my profile, and these are customized to my preferences and or needs. If you are using a brand new account, you probably only have these 4 roughly that usually typically show up. So let's go to the store, and the store is right here, the first icon on the first page, and you should only have one page as a beginner setting up your account for the first time. So I'm going to click on this, and the Chrome Web Store is going to appear. A few things to note before we look through the apps. There are I'm going to call them 3 categories. The first categories are apps, and these apps basically are a site that's set up to work possibly with your Google Drive or just as a standalone app. You can have the second thing is you can have them run on your desktop. Okay, so there are some that work on your desktop. So there's some people who like to have traditional. I want it to run on my desktop, not in the cloud. And there's quite a growing collection of these. So I'll let you sort these out. But really often for my classroom practice, this is not something I use a lot. What I'll use more is, and you can see here the categories, even organized by we think this is something useful for high school teachers. Middle school, here you go. So they have it set up in that way, and even have education as another category. So those are really some major things to know. There's one other category I want to show you, and it's called extensions. Extensions are very powerful. And what are extensions? Well, they're these kind of things. And one that we've talked about and looked at in class that is very useful is the web page screenshot. There are several that I have added here. For example, I'll just go over them quickly, but you can search for them. Basically, create a new Google Doc right from your browser. So if I click here, I'm not going to do it. It's going to open a window and allow me to create a Google Doc in an instant. This one takes out ads. It's called Screw Ads Plus or YouTube. It takes out ads in YouTube. So if you're showing in the classroom and you don't want ads to show up, this is a great extension to add. Here's another one. If I want to send my tabs to all my students, I click on it, and it will give me basically a URL, and I can email it directly to my students. If I click this, it's going to email it directly to my students, or I have to enter my Google group, and it'll send it out to them. I'll close that. Here's print friendly. It makes a page look, when there's all these ads when you go to a website and there's all this garbage that you don't want to print, but there's some really critical content you would love to use for your students. This one here is one that you can use. And this one here is print directly from Gmail. So instead of opening a Gmail window, I find something great on my website, I just click on this, it's going to open a window, and I can send an email to my students. So those are extensions. Um, let's just have a look for a few seconds in, and really what I'm going to be encouraging you to do today is to explore some of the apps. Let's say education. There are many of these that I've used in my classes. Some of these might be just a good way to amplify something you're already doing, or sometimes giving them a little bit of extra, enriched homework. So sometimes you can see here the, anatomy games. So playing games that allow them to learn some of the skills that you're already trying to teach them. Um, and one thing that's pretty important is that you must explore these apps. Sometimes the app is absolutely fantastic, other times it's not. So the only way to do that is by exploring and testing and finding out what works for you. And as you can see, there are just many. Of course, there's games, and this is what I was saying earlier in my video. You have the option to, with a Google Apps account, have a Google Apps admin block some of these. So all the grade 9 students in this school can only use Evernote, for example. Highly recommend Evernote, by the way, for note-taking app. It's far superior to Google Drive. I still use Google Drive mostly just from an organizational point of view, but I do use Evernote. If you have a mobile phone or tablet, Evernote is excellent. Okay. Just quickly, a lot of photo editing apps that you can do. Photoshop, probably one of the best is Pixlr Editor. Type it in. There's actually a few here. Pixlr. Search. This one here is basically a full Photoshop replacement. This is quick and easy touch-ups, and even have some extensions here that you might want to look at. So always remember, apps, where do the apps go? I'm going to show you. When you install an app, it goes over here. Okay, so this is kind of the Chrome box here. So these are all the apps I have installed. So whenever I want to open one of those apps, all I do is click on it and it will open. All right, so if I want to do Google Hangout, I can do it straight from here. If I want to do Pixlr Video, which is, most of these are free. And one thing to be aware of, sometimes they offer like an upgrade plan. Again, explore the apps, find out what works for you, and here's an Edmodo, but this will take you directly to your Edmodo. It's useful for teachers who have that set up in their classroom. Kaizena is excellent. It allows you to add voice comments to Google Docs that your students share with you. Isn't that awesome? So instead of writing out the comments, you can record it, and then the students can just basically listen to them. And where are your extensions? Well, at the top. Okay? I'm going to show you how to sync your profile in my next video, but that's it for today's video. Hopefully you found this helpful. Check out my website, edtechvoice.com, and if you have any questions, please send me an email. Thanks.